So if you're creating animations for a character in Unity and you have a rig here and you want to make multiple animations, you can actually create them all in a row in your timeline in Maya and then bring the file into Unity and then cut up the clips into different animation clips there. So I already know that my first animation goes from 0 to 60. So I can just go to frame 61, or maybe 65 is a little bit easier for the math. So I just go to some frame after my animation is over, and I can come in here and I can say maybe this animation I want to be kind of zeroed out, and I want my rotation of my wings zeroed out. So I can reset all my joints and set their keyframes. And so after this, it's going to pop back to the center. And then I can, starting at frame 65, create another animation. So maybe this animation, I want it to hover up and down. So I can set, it's going to jump up and then sort of move a little bit, kind of go up and down, go like this, down, up, and then back down to land on the ground. And then, so that's going from 65 to 95. You know, we can get fancy with it if we want. So we can kind of have it do a little rotation, maybe a little rotation, and then go back to no rotation. So we can kind of, just kind of bobbling around a little bit. Maybe that's too far. Here. Okay. And then we can do a little wing flapping if we want. So we can have it when it jumps up in the air. Maybe it flaps its wings down. Ooh, maybe it goes up. And then down, so it looks like it's like jumping off the ground. Okay, so it goes flat, and then it hovers. Setting my keyframes flat, and then it's going to hover. And then as it goes down, it can kind of have its little wings go up like it's landing. And then back down. Okay, flap, hover, hover, and down. All right, so we have two animations. One is a more dynamic one, doing a little loop-de-loop, and then one is this little kind of hover and drop. So once I have my two animations, I can just save this. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Bug, asset, save it. And then we can open up Unity. So import it in, and if we take a look at what is happening in our asset, you see that I have the joints and then the little model, and then we also have this take 01, which is the animations that we made. So if we kind of zoom out down here, we can actually start to see a preview of what is happening. So those are the two animations that we made, and they're in one clip right now. So we need to cut these up into two clips. So if I select my take, I can go to the edit screen, and this is where I can cut it up into two different clips. So I can say take 1, I want to call this the loop-de-loop, and this goes, if I hit this clamp range button, I know that it ends at 65. Or 60, and I only want it to play one time. so I'm not going to click loop. I can make another clip by clicking plus, and this will be the hover. And that goes from, if I hit clamp range, that goes from 65 to 95. And that one I do want to loop, so click loop time. And then at the bottom, click apply. So I've cut it up into 2 clips. So we have hover, which looks like that, and loop-de-loop, which looks like that. So we have our animation clips, and we have our asset. We can bring it in to our game. And notice how it has an animator, but it does not have a controller. So we have to create an animator controller. And then we have to assign that controller to the animator on our game object. Now that we have an animator controller, we can bring in our animation clips to the controller to do what we want with. So I can say, okay, right now I want the default to be the loop-de-loop. So if I hit play, by default it will play that animation one time, because remember it's not looping. Or I can make the default the hover. So if I click play, by default it will be hanging out and doing its little hover thing. And that's it. So you import the asset, cut up the animation by clicking into the edit screen and using the plus button, and then setting the clamped range, giving it a name. And then when you import in your game object, you need to create a animator controller to assign to the animator. And then you can bring in your animation clips to the animator controller to do whatever you want with.